Josie, and today I am here with my June wrap-up. During the month of June, I read 10 books for a total of 2,234 pages. Let's jump right into the books I read this month. So the first book I read this month was The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I reread this book in preparation for the movie, which was released this month. I really did enjoy rereading it, and I'm very interested to see how my thoughts and opinions change the more times I reread this book. I did end up giving this book 5 out of 5 stars. The second book I read this month was Angels in Pink, Raina's story. I did enjoy this book. It was just what I needed when I read it. It follows the story of Raina, who finds out a secret about her life that she never knew and has the opportunity to save someone's life. It also tells the story of 2 of Raina's best friends. I did think Raina's story was slightly distracted by her friends' stories, but I did end up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I did really enjoy it. The next book I read this month was Rules by Cynthia Lord. I did a full video review of this book, which I will link in the description box below, and I did give this book 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read this month was Millicent Men, Girl Genius by Lisa Yee. This was a reread from when I was younger, and I did enjoy this book just as much the second time as I did the first. I can see how people would be slightly annoyed by the main character, Millicent, but I did not feel annoyed by her at all, and I actually quite enjoyed her character, and I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read this month was Nerd Camp by Alyssa Brent Wiseman. This book is about a boy named Gabe who goes off to a nerd camp. I did like how the main character Gabe developed towards the end of this book, but overall this book was pretty mediocre and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read this month was Panic by Sharon M. Draper. Sharon M. Draper is one of my favorite authors, so I was very eager to read this book. This book did not disappoint me, and I flew through it really quickly. I did have a problem with how the book ended and how one of the main characters was represented throughout the book, but overall I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read this month was Peak by Roland Smith. This book was truly unlike anything I've ever read before. It's about a boy who is arrested for scaling a skyscraper in New York City, and he is sentenced to live with his father, who's a famous rock climber, and they climb Mount Everest. It was amazing, and I really did enjoy it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read this month was The Summer I Found You by Jolene Perry. I was really excited to read this book, but it was a disappointment. The characters and story of this book were amazing, but the writing of this book was horrible. There were so many mistakes and so many typos without this book. It was so frustrating, and I ended up giving this book 3 out of 5 stars. The last 2 books I read this month, I read for the Read Your Day Away 24-hour readathon, which was held on Saturday, June 28th. The first book I read for that was Confessions from the Principal's Chair by Anna Myers. This book was really fun and really unique and unlike anything I've ever read before, and I did really like the way they presented the topic of bullying in this book, but I did think the character was really bratty, but she did develop nicely throughout the book, and I ended up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. The final book I read this month was Drive By by Lynn Ewing. This book is really short. It's only 85 pages, and it's about a boy whose brother is killed in a drive-by gang shooting. And I can see how a 10-year-old, which is who this book is recommended for, is 10-year-olds, but how they would feel while reading this book. And I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. Anyway, guys, that is all for the books that I read in the month of June. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!